Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. We've got 49 people on the call already. Look at that.
Users, I love it.
All right. Well, Dana Kennedy and I are. Oh, hi, Laura. Good to see you. We're doing a live Substack call to talk about the Substack classes that we're co-facilitating through Story Summit.
Yep.
So, Dana, what have you learned about Substack that you think is important to pass along? Hey,
Oh,
hi, Siobhan. Good to see you. Oh, look at that.
oh my gosh, is that an open-ended question? You know, I'm a latecomer to Substack, honestly, and but I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's an incredible platform. I think it's a positive platform. I love the ability for people to get subscriptions directly from readers right to them. So it kind of takes out the middle person. And I have just completely dived into it. In addition, I have a 30-year background in marketing. So I'm just completely fascinated with how to find an audience on Substack, how to grow an audience. And so that's where I got on board to teach these classes because I didn't hesitate because I've just completely immersed myself in the Substack world. I'm very passionate about it. I love when someone gives me a question that I don't know the answer to because I will find out. As you know, Julie.
Yes, yes. It's funny. My husband, Richard Gilbert, has been writing columns periodically that I post in my Substack column. And I've been yammering at him to start his own. And so we finally got him up and running with his own Substack column the other day. And it reminds me how, there's just a lot to learn and that it's important to have, somebody to kind of hold your hand through the process because once you get up and running, you forget how to insert pictures or you forget how to make a link or all of these things. So, anyway, do you guys have any questions? Those of you on the call, we've got a bunch of folks on here. We can talk about anything you want to talk about, but we decided to do this because we have an intermediate Substack class starting tomorrow night through
Yeah.
Story Summit. And we'd like to encourage any of you who maybe you have a Substack column already, but you don't quite know what to do with it, how to grow it, how to use the various tools. So Dana and I have teamed up to provide this class series for you. But we can talk about anything. Dana, what you've been watching some people through Story Summit get on Substack. What have you noticed about their initial columns and what they're doing on Substack and why can it be helpful for writers?
Yeah. So it's just an incredible platform where you get to decide. The part of what I love about Substack is that it's the customization of it. Like you get to decide, and it has so many tools within the platform that allow you to build out your publication and your profile exactly as you want it to be. So that's really exciting to me. Like you're not limited on that. And so it's a place where um, people's writing is applauded and people follow you because they enjoy your voice or they subscribe to you because they want more of the content that you're providing. So you see everything from poets to journalism, as you're very familiar with, Julie. In my case, I started about 10 years ago. I developed a self-discovery company that I had been launching in some ways, but when Substack became available, all of a sudden I was like, this is a platform where I can engage and create a community. And so I love it because it's writers, but it's a lot of creatives. It's just creatives in general and people who have a voice and a clear vision on what they want to share with an audience and with the world. And Substack gives you not only the opportunity to do that, to have people in that community that can do it, but it also allows you to shape it in a very customizable way that's really true to you. So
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, we have 190 people on the call already. Isn't that fun?
yeah.
Yay.
everyone. There's still a lot more coming in. Great.
Yeah. All right, Tim Grover, good to see you. Anybody have a question or a comment, or we can just go ahead and talk about Substack. So if you have joined this call, you've thought about starting a Substack column, but either you're afraid or you're overwhelmed by the technology. We'll have a conversation about that. What is the what is the hardest thing about getting started, Dana? What do you think?
Well, just from the classes that we've taught up to this point, the thing I think happens is people just get intimidated in general about the platform. And that's why we built out the Substack level 1 class. The class we're going to be teaching tomorrow night is an intermediate class, level 2. But level 1 is really a beginner class, and it's really for those people that most of the people that come to the class are on Substack, either a reader have created their own application, but they get sort of paralyzed in like, now that I have to push the button and publish or make things happen, they censor themselves or they pull back. And so we really work really hard in that level 1 class on encouraging people and providing them tools and things that they need and getting a better understanding of the platform so that they get the courage to at least start publishing, right? Because that's really where it begins, is just put your work out into the world. Julie always does a really good job in these of reminding people that when you push that first publish button, you don't have an audience yet, so don't freak out. In all honesty, not that many people are going to see it, but over time, then what we do is we help you develop who do you want to be on Substack. We help people get really comfortable in the platform over time. That's a it's changing all the time, but we are constantly giving updates. And so we'll get a little bit more into the platform and a lot of growth strategies, honing in on your voice, engaging audience. That's what Substack level 2 is going to be. So we really encourage people. The Story Summit format is that it is live, it's via Zoom. And we do have a syllabus that we follow because we want to make sure we teach you as much as we possibly can that we think it will be of value to you in the 2 hours we have for the class. But we also really encourage, we have a back and forth experience where we have questions and people are putting things in the chat, and it allows us to really address things right here and now as far as what people are coming up against, or we'll often see themes in the chat of the questions that people are having, and a lot of times they're really similar. So
I started my Substack column about 5 years ago, probably almost 6 years ago now. It was during COVID, quarantine, and, we were stuck at home with nothing to do. And I just was a follower of Heather Cox Richardson, who was one of the early pioneers on Substack.
yep,
And I thought, well, okay, she's using Substack. I'd had a blog on Google years before while we chronicled a sailing journey we went on, and that was fun. So I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And of course, I had no idea what I was doing, totally self-taught. And I remember sending out a note to friends that I had started this, and friends will be friends and they'll subscribe, and but then when I started getting people to subscribe that I didn't know, I thought,
really,
oh, I better take this a little more seriously. And then you get into that audience interaction with Substack that's unlike anything that I'd experienced before. Um, and it's just so gratifying that this tool has been created by writers for writers.
yeah,
It's not like, I don't know how many times you've written some beautifully crafted post that you put on Facebook about whatever it is that's on your mind. Well, Mark Zuckerberg gets to monetize your content.
right.
It's and that's a fabulous model he's built. He gets all these millions of people to provide free content and photos. And then he turns around and charges people money to advertise on that content that we're all creating for free. So the beauty of Substack is, because it was founded by writers for writers, it is designed for a writer who can then own their subscriber base.
Yeah.
No one else has access to that subscriber base. If a writer decides they no longer wanna be on Substack, but they wanna keep their subscribers, all they do is download their subscriber base.
Yeah.
And it's just such a relief to be able to have control, have independence, have the ability to do what it is you wanna do when you wanna do it. There's nobody saying you have to do this or you have to do that. There are some tools tips that we teach about how to be successful,
Mhm.
one of which is to be consistent. But again, you're the boss, and it's quite nice. Some of us are unemployable. We can't handle bosses anymore.
And the truth. Yeah. The other thing that I think you mentioned briefly is that the other thing I love about Substack, and listen, I come from a marketing world and I have a lot of digital background. I was a very early adopter of digital. So, I'm fully aware of digital ads and all of the back end stuff of how all this stuff works. But I will say, as a breath of fresh air with Substack, that it's not a platform where ads are served. And that's really critical to what you're talking about and how, that direct subscriber, of course, Substack makes money off of you. So if you get subscribers, they will take a piece of that. That's sort of your agreement for being able to use the platform. And it is an incredible platform. I will say I've got very comfortable in the platform. Um, it's very user friendly. I used to create blogs years ago on my website. And I mean, it was a cumbersome process, and like to see any comments, I'd have to be going into the end of my site, and it's just a lot to manage it. And now, I mean, once I get my writing ready to go, I can have a post up and ready to go in 5 minutes. I've been working in it a little while, but it's pretty easy. It's really easy, actually. Like to build it. I mean, Substack really does this incredible job of creating these tools that make it really user friendly for people. And so, after you do it a couple of times, you really kind of get it down and can move pretty fast. So I love that. But again, back to not having ads, I just think is a huge deal. It it feels good in the platform, and then you're not like, you're not having to have ads in order for your content to be seen. It doesn't work that way. And it's not a really algorithm based thing either. It's just a direct, like, it's a relational thing. It's like you make recommendations and you share. There is a social element in it where you can like things, but it's not really the main component of what Substack is. It's really built more to connect people, to get people to share their work with one another, to collaborate. I love that environment of Substack. I think it's really different than anything else out there.
So Dana, we've got 217 people on this live call, which is
Oh,
very nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about what's coming up with the intermediate class starting tomorrow night at
Yeah.
7 o'clock Central Time? And then for those who are interested, go to the storysummit.us website and you'll see all kinds of classes available, which I highly recommend you consider just becoming a member of Story Summit, and then you're eligible to partake in pretty much all the classes for one annual charge. But if you just want to take our Substack class, we hope you do. There is a one-time fee for the intermediate class, and then there'll be ongoing opportunities to join forums and stay with a community of people who are continuing to learn about Substack and share what works and what doesn't. But tell us what's up for the intermediate class starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, you bet. And I will say, the intermediate class is 3 2-hour classes over the course of the next 3 weeks. And as Julie said, it's on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock Central to 9 o'clock Central. And just so you know, it's $197 for those 3 classes for 6 hours instruction, which if you've looked into any sort of like Substack teachings and coaching, it's a really great value for what you're getting, the amount of stuff that you're getting. So for any of you that aren't really familiar with that, I encourage you to go. And I did put the link to it in the chat here in the messages, so you can go to the link if you want to. But tomorrow night's class is The title of tomorrow night's class is Strengthening Your Voice and Vision. So the intermediate class is really meant for people that already have a Substack or have been on Substack, have probably have a publication, have maybe posted at least a couple of times, and or have taken our Substack level 1 class. And really the premise behind it is this evening is going to be we really like to get back. We're going to lead with like talking about our whys, like why are we on Substack? Particularly with me being a marketing person and marketing background, to me, the why is everything because it will lead every action you take, every choice that you make about your column. And so we're going to start off revisiting that, which we also talked about in level 1 because it's such a critical part of creating a Substack column. Then we're also going to talk about making yourself stand out, consistency, voice, building trust with your readers, which is a really huge component of Substack. As your readers start to trust you, and you'll see subscriptions go up and up. And Julie is a great example of that because Julie has a lot of subscribers. Julie's going to be talking about some analytics on the back end. We've had a lot of interest in show me how I use the analytics to help me form and shape my Substack as I move forward. So we're going to touch on that tonight. Julie's also going to touch on some of the tools, video, audio tools, Substack Lives. You also have the ability to do a podcast, which I've launched a podcast on Substack as well, which is really cool. And then finally, we're going to kind of wrap up the evening with an exercise that we're going to leave the group with for the night, which is to work on reader journey, basically. So it's basically on Substack, how do people find me? How do they discover me? And then how do I take them through the reader journey and to bring them into being a loyal subscriber? So we're going to talk through those steps and leave everybody with some homework and an exercise to take home to help position that and put it together so that they can move forward with that kind of plan, which, as Julie knows, I love a plan.
Yes.
But I will say, Julie and I, any of you have not been to our facilitated classes, one of my favorite things about teaching with Julie is we get a lot of positive reviews on this. Julie and I have very different styles at how we approach Substack. Julie's been doing it a lot longer than me, and I'm more new and taking in some of the new things that are coming out. But we have very different ways of approaching it, and both work. And so what I love about co-teaching with her is that we really do offer people more than one option because there isn't just one way. And it's really, really important that we try to guide everyone to understanding you can use our models and what we're teaching you, and it will definitely help move forward. But we also teach about encouraging you to find your own unique pathways as well. So that's another important component of what we teach in these classes. So
You were mentioning the why, and I'd like to talk about my why and why I'm doing this because so many people in my age, I look at the Facebook high school graduating class, and most people are traveling and playing mahjong or whatever, and I am just absolutely consumed at the moment with helping people tell their stories. Whether it's through Substack, whether it's through memoir, whether it's through the book that they've always wanted to start but never had the time to do it. And that's something that I have in common with the Story Summit community. And it's a wonderful blending of our two organizations. I host a retreat in the fall called the Okoboji Writers and Songwriters Retreat. And by the way, it's great to see songwriters using Substack.
yes,
W-
yes.
It is so fabulous for them to be able to engage with their audience
Correct.
and tell them the backstory to some of the songs they've written, and then embed the song in their Substack column. It's helping grow their audiences exponentially and getting them connected with the readership beyond just having the ability to go to a gig somewhere where 20 people show up. This is a way for songwriters to really expand their audience. I digress a little bit, but
No, really great point because it is a very inclusive environment, Substack, for writers of any form, but also, like I had said, just creatives. You see a lot of art as well. I mean, I've seen a lot of people start to post beautiful paintings and
yes.
photographers, and it's a really creative platform.
And I started something called the Iowa Writers Collaborative. Thank you, Shannon. That's very kind of you. Appreciate that. The collaborative has about 60 writers now, and they were from around Iowa. We're the only state doing this so far, although the co-founder Hamish McKenzie was on a podcast interview we did last year, and he thinks this model that we've created in Iowa is a model that is going to be adopted by many others in the world, which I'm really proud of. But what we're looking for with the collaborative are some younger voices. We have pockets around the state where we don't have a writer, and we want to have as much geographic diversity as we can in the collaborative. So if you're in Decorah, or you're in Council Bluffs, or you're in Keosauqua, or wherever, and you're wondering why in the world you should get involved in Substack, especially if you have some professional journalism experience, you could be eligible to join the Iowa Writers Collaborative. So think about it. Think about it. But if you don't have journalism experience, there are many, many other ways to get your work out there. And then we'll be talking about that tomorrow night as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Shall we wrap it up?
You bet. Well, I just hope everybody, if you want to join us, it's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and we have a lot of fun. We do stay on about 15 minutes after the class to answer any specific questions that are like really specific to maybe something that you've been challenged with that you're like, I can't get past this moment. Can you please help me? So we do that, and we have a really good time. You'll get a lot of information. We send the decks home with you so you can reference back on it. And we're just going to have fun again, Julie.
Yes, we are. By the way, Shannon, if you're in Nevada, as in Iowa, that's one question. If you're in Nevada, as in the state, that's a different question. But if you're in Nevada in Iowa and you do have some journalism or professional writing experience, you could be eligible to join the Iowa Writers Collaborative. But if that doesn't fit you, there are plenty of other ways to get your Substack viewed, and including within Story Summit or you're in the state of Nevada. Oh, hey, Shannon, start your own collaborative. I'm serious. Seriously, think of all the newspapers in your state that have gone by the wayside. Legacy media is really struggling, and there are now more and more what we call news deserts. And the readers are hungry for information and commentary about what's going on in your state. So I highly recommend you think about that. So
Shannon, as far as being in another state for if it's the Substack Level 2 class, you can join from anywhere in the world pretty much. So the link is in there. You can go to storysummit.us. And if you go to classes and Substack Level 2, you'll see you can register there if anybody wants to join us for the class tomorrow night.
before we go, tell me about David Kirkpatrick, the founder of Story Summit. He is such an amazing visionary man. And I think, there's something called tone at the top.
Yeah.
And David sets the tone at the top of what Story Summit is all about. So Dana, tell me a little bit about David Kirkpatrick before we end this call, would you?
You bet. Yeah. So David is the founder and creator of Story Summit. And I believe it first started about 6 years ago. And my first introduction into it is I won a scholarship to go out to Cape Cod. They have these amazing retreats where there's hundreds of people, and they support basically the premise behind it was a lot of people who were either retiring or even still in the industry. He was heading into the phase of his life where he's retiring. And if you know David, he's never going to retire. So, but his purpose was to really make a place where writers could come and be supported not only in the craft of writing, but also in just the ability to get connected to people who are in the industry, because he worked in the industry, in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. And I apologize, I don't have his titles in front of me, but I know he worked for Disney, he worked for Paramount, and he was one of the main people there. And so he created Story Summit to basically support the industry, to support creatives and writers in moving forward. And then, of course, Deb Angle came along. And so now we have this really strong sort of publishing writing side, and then we have the screenwriting Hollywood side as well. And so, yeah, they're just a dynamite team with hearts of gold that really do what they do. When we talk about people's why on Substack, Deb and David really understand their why very clearly, which is they want to have a community of people. They want to have a positive environment for people to learn. They want to connect people and give them resources to move forward in their career. And then, as I said before, they provide all kinds of classes and workshops and events. And we have VIP speakers that come in and talk from the industry. They have tons of complimentary offerings where you can come in and learn from different people about they just published their book. What was their experience? It's an incredible community and so much support in so many ways. And yes, David's at the helm of that. So
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This was a lot of fun. And Dana, I enjoy working with you so much and look forward to our intermediate class starting tomorrow night.
yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.